Hello, I'm Horace Douty in Lexington, Virginia, and each Sunday I bring you a Bible meditation. On Tuesday I bring you a nature lesson, and on Thursday I bring you a local history lesson. I encourage you to watch these videos and subscribe, click on like, and click on the little bell icon. Share them with your family and your friends. I appreciate that. Today, there is a story in the book of Acts about Paul encountering shipwreck. The ship he was on, and quite a few other people, broke up and sank at the edge of the ocean. There's a long passage in the book of Acts describing the shipwreck in vivid detail. None of those 276 passengers, including Paul and Luke, would have gone aboard had they known what was getting ready to happen. On the coast of Malta, the awful 2-week storm took its toll. The ship was utterly destroyed, and yet the story ends in a miracle. Not a single life was lost. Here is the last line. On broken pieces of the ship, all came safely ashore. Serious illness can feel like shipwreck. It did for me some years ago. I had the illusion that I was too strong to be taken down by microscopic germs. That was a delusion. And suddenly I was trapped in intensive care, connected to all manner of wires and tubes, and I recognized that ICU is something of a luxury, but I can't say that I recommend it for anybody except on rare occasions. Like those shipwrecked travelers, I was engaged in a rather serious struggle. Deep one night in the hospital, I awakened in terrible misery, shivering, swimming in my own massive sweat. But an angel came, instantly. Nurse Alma. With quiet competence, she stripped the bed and stripped me, and within a brief minute or two, I was dry, back in bed, new linens, new blankets, some of which had been warmed in the oven, and Alva expertly provided new electrodes for the ones which had floated away, reattached the machinery, bade me good night, turned out the lights. A small miracle had happened. No, it was a big miracle. Alva had taken a bad night and she fixed it. I remained alert enough to stew about the duties I was missing. I could not imagine how Christmas could happen in my church without my participation and leadership. Wouldn't the ship sink? Well, it did not. Volunteers stepped forward one after another to take on tasks that were new to them, especially for the Christmas Eve candlelight service. And so there was another miracle. And I learned that some of the people sang with extra vigor to make up for the loss of my big voice. The Bible tells quite a number of stories about people who faced not shipwreck, but crisis which had to be faced when the plans failed. Gideon, for example, suddenly fought dozens of armed enemies in hand-to-hand combat when his only weapon was the bleached jawbone of a dead donkey. Surprisingly, he won. The Apostle Paul, great as he was, became handicapped with a disability, and yet look what he did to establish the Christian church. John, another author of the New Testament, had the carpet jerked from under his feet. He was exiled to remote Patmos. It looked like total shipwreck. Yet John continued writing and made the world richer. Some of you are heroes like those. Your best laid plans have crumbled, and yet you struggle forward on broken pieces, and life gradually falls back into place. Your courage and your bravery is just as impressive as that of St. Paul. there could be no greater shipwreck than what happened to Jesus that terrible Friday as he hung there gasping for his breath on a cross. It looked as if his noble plans were dying with him. But watch what happened. The Christian church budded and blossomed and took root. The world calendar was reset. We are in a century that is numbered in his honor. We regulate our lives in an attempt to follow his suggestions. The sacrament of communion, do you know it's also called Eucharist, which means giving thanks. Our hearts should be overflowing with thanksgiving because we've been rescued from shipwreck time after time. My body restores and heals itself. Fresh life comes back. Could there be a greater miracle? Yes, there is one greater miracle. Most of you have come through this pandemic without so much as a sniffle or a sneeze. You have been spared the sickness. Right there is your miracle, greater than being healed. So, take the time to exercise your own Eucharist. Lift your face to heaven habitually and say, "Thank you, God." God bless you.